Just sitting here, I thought about something, and you know, the Ukrainian people are being bullied by Russia, and the Ukrainian people, not all, but some, bully the Nigerians, the people that are come from India, the people that come from Ghana, the people that come from Nigeria, the people of color. So there's always somebody a group that bullies another group, that bullies another group, that bullies another group. And there's always somebody getting bullied. It's sad. But as people are putting up, us people of color, we always, because we know what oppression and we know what it means to be picked on, that we are also, a set of people that will join in a movement, especially when you see people being oppressed. We will join in. We will put the hashtags up. We will cry our outrage and we will give our black tears. We'll give our brown tears to a situation. But as I'm looking deeper and deeper into the Ukraine situation, what's starting to come out is shocking, painful, disgusting, and has literally just gave me an instant headache just now. So I'm gonna try and get through this. Report after report is coming out that Africans are being denied the opportunity to leave along with other refugees that are trying to flee the Ukraine. They're being denied access to leave the Ukraine to go to Poland. They're being denied, safe passage. Basically, they're telling them that, you're stuck. They're not giving them any, everybody else who is, Ukraine of a certain skin tone are being allowed to leave, get on trains and everything, but they're not. So before y'all, people gonna come after me, and I'm very much so prepared for this. I get it. I am against any form of bullying. I'm against any form of oppression against anyone. And in the middle of a gosh damn war, there should be unity going on and not separatism. The last thing I expected to hear when a place is being attacked and under siege is that y'all got time to be racist and say that these people are not allowed to escape. These are students. These are young men who came there to learn, for military, for medical purposes, and other different things to go to these universities to better themselves. And they are currently trapped. And as I started to dig into the Ukraine, I realized that this is should not be shocking. This is not something that just happened overnight. They have had a long, super long history of racism. Now, I will never forget my experience back in the day dealing with somebody. You know, I had someone, a friend, friends, and he had to learn the hard way, or we had to learn the hard way that his parents were racist. Yeah, because I'm going to tell you real quick. He was from Poland. His family was all from Poland, but he was born in America, but his family was Polish. And I will never forget sitting. I was at his house with other friends and everybody. We're laughing, kikiing, and all of a sudden his parents came home, and his mother looked and saw me, was shocked looking on her face, and said something in I guess Polish. Said something, and when she said it again, and I caught the word, and the word was the N word. And he was yelling at her like, "What are you talking about? Like, what, like, are you my mother? Like, how could you say something like this? I don't believe this. Are you serious? I can't believe that you're like that." And he's apologizing to me, and I said, "Time to go." But yeah, she was like, "Get that and about my house." Yeah. So that took me aback, and that stayed in the back of my head. And I said, "Ooh, when it comes to certain places, I'm very cautious on how I move with these people because that experience tainted my view on all." It did. But let's continue on, okay? So here's this. And this is in 2015. Why I'm taking it back, and I'm going to take it back, and I'm going to show you different examples of issues that the Ukraine has with people of color. And so it will tell you that the issues that people are facing today should not be shocking, that the Africans and people of color, Indian, everybody who's over there, the reason why you're not allowing you to leave and stuff. Okay, because it'll be explained. So in modern Ukraine, people of color need not apply. Do you see the title of this? Attacks on dark skinned visitors and Aryan only pools reveal post Maiden Ukraine still has some maturing to do. And this is what 8/11/15. So in the beginning of the year, the Washington Post ran an opinion piece from Terrell Jermaine Starr with an eye-catching headline. A cop in Ukraine said he was detaining me because I was black. I appreciated it. According to Mr. Starr, who visited the Ukraine in 2009, back then, people with different skin color had routinely faced housing discrimination. Police treated them as suspects in drug smuggling crimes, and occasionally the reporter encountered young men dressed up in black shirts and Doc Martens who threw up the salute at my direction. In other words, racism in the Ukraine was much more blunt than in the US, always in my face, unabashed, and in plain view. So, how much things have changed in Ukraine with regard to racism since the revolution supposedly brought to power the first truly pro-West, pro-European, pro-democracy, and pro-human rights government? Okay. So this guy is a contemporary of the Ukraine independence. He was born in 1991, the year of the collapse of the Soviet Union. He shared everything with his beloved Ukraine, including hunger of the 1990s and wild reforms that did not bring much in terms of positive economic change into his family life. He still lives with his mother in their small one room apartment, has to count every dime. And of course, like the rest of his generation, he shared the exhilarating hope for his country to change and become a European state in every sense of the word. Unlike his peers, he has a very personal reason to want this. Zan, I think Zan is a typical Ukrainian in every way but his skin color. His father, who he never knew, was from Rwanda. He was a student of the Aviation Institute in Soviet Ukraine, and being a pilot, was killed in action at the time of the war in the African country. Okay, his mother is a Ukrainian mother, okay, raised him alone. Now he knows that there's still widespread racism in his home. Now listen, there's still widespread racism in his homeland. Despite all the changes, he's still considered black first and Ukrainian second, and often is asked when is he planning to visit his motherland, Rwanda. His motherland is here in Ukraine, is his answer. Okay. Now they Ukrainian public talk a lot about joining the EU, but I think that a lot of our folks are not ready for this. As a kid, he was traumatized by racist slurs of his peers and often had to fight the offenders. But even today, he hears insults behind his back from time to time. So there are others in the country whose looks don't fit the profile of an Aryan Ukrainian, a profile celebrated by the Ukrainian nationalists, enjoying their moment in a lot of places of power in the country. Other more other much more vulnerable than him, Zen Zane, who from different reasons came to Ukraine from Africa, now have to experience racism on the street almost every day. Okay, so he knows how to defend himself. He's a professional wrestler who won the silver medal as the latest world wrestling championship in Baku, and dreams of winning the gold one at the coming dreams of winning the gold one at the coming championship in Las Vegas. Are you Mike Tyson? He was asked once by a man in a shopping mall. And of course, that he then gave Zeg's negative answer in his native Russian was most likely the biggest shock of the man's, for that man's life. So this is what he looks like. Okay. In the end of July, a number of Ukrainian newspapers broke the story of a 23-year-old Asi refuge from Africa, Sierra Leone, who came to Ukraine just 6 months ago. At the bus station at the town of, I can't even say the word, which is West Ukraine, the young woman and her 8-month-old son were trying to board the bus, but were violently thrown off by furious passengers who didn't want to travel in her company because she was not like them. The violent attack was filmed by the angry crowd that was shouting, "Tie her to the fence," together with the kid. This is not him. So, this is the Sierra Leone woman with her child. And look at this. It says a young mother from Sierra Leone and her 8 month old son were thrown off a bus and terrorized. When the police showed up, they arrested her. The bus driver called the police, who, upon arrival, handcuffed and took away the unfortunate victim of racial abuse, who was hysterically screaming in English, facing the hostile crowd of the Ukrainians, Europeans who couldn't understand her pleas. This was not the first racial incident. The town's local aqua park denied entrance to the black skinned students of local university who happened to be from India and Nigeria. The pool's owner, former mayor of the Uzhhorod, and deputy to the Supreme Parliament, explained his pool policy by mentioning concerns about the public health of the town's residents in the face of a possible, disease or tuberculosis and all that other stuff. Okay, so during last year, he stated we had a 14-fold increase in AIDS cases in town. I demand compensation for all my expenses on buying and building of the pool's complex in case the gypsies are allowed in his aqua park by the authorities. We let in the residents for the use Gorod only. We let in only white people. These was the explanations given to the reporter by the on-duty entrance guard, white blonde-haired lady in her 40s. So racism in Ukraine is not limited to just western part of the country or directed only against people from Africa. In mid-June, the city, and this is one of them cities that they're talking about right now, right, Car? Carver Cove. Mm. Around 100 foreign students demonstrated with place cards reading "No to Racism" and "Protect Foreign Students." The reason for the demonstration was the violent attack by the mob of 40 to 50 people in black clothes and some kind of thing at the students from Jordan. Four of them were taken to the hospital with knife wounds and severe head injuries. On the way, the violent mob put four cars on fire, stabbed to death two dogs that belonged to their enemies. The video, taken by a scared foreign student from the safety of his dorm room window, showed the scale of the mob's attack. Look at them. Okay. A day later, a special plane with a medical team aboard was sent by the King of Jordan to take the wounded home. "I'm scared to walk around the city," admitted one of the Jordanian students. "There is no police, no protection. We have a security guard at the dorm, a godfather of 60 years old. If the criminals are not found, I'm packing my suitcase and going home." This is something. Show you this. Look at this. When you say Ukraine history of racism, look, racism and it has its own Wikipedia flipping page. Africans in the UK face racism. Racism and assault on African students daily struggle in Ukraine. Okay? Insults, assaults are a daily occurrence for Black African students. Okay? In modern people of color need not apply. Life as a Black Ukrainian. Okay? This is it's rough with it. It is. Look at what the a damn Wikipedia on it. Discrimination against foreigners, discrimination against Russians, discrimination against. It has a Wikipedia page. Let's just show you. It's a lot. So let me stop. I'll show you this. So when people every this was in 2012. Every Black man I met where England will play has been beaten up by racists. How one journalist was stunned by the bigotry in the Ukrainian cities hosting our games. Levy is a law abiding, peaceful man, but as he walks briskly through the Ukrainian city in which he lives, he's in a state of high alert. That is during the day. That is during the day. At night, he will travel only by cab. As a student, it's a luxury he can ill afford. But after dark, the streets aren't safe, at least not for a Black man. The 27-year-old Nigerian is 6 feet tall and capable of defending himself, but there was little he could do when he was ambushed by a gang of extreme right wing thugs last August. He says, "I was escorting a friend home one Sunday at around 9 p.m. I didn't want him walking alone at night. We had just stepped out of the door of the student's hostel when suddenly five young white guys appeared out of the dark and started calling us racist names. They were holding large stones in their hands, which they threw at us. We took cover in a shop doorway and called my friends in the hostel with my cell phone. When the cavalry arrived, our attackers fled like cowards they were. I had only been in the country 5 months, and it was very frightening. If I had not already paid my money to the university, I might have got on the next flight home. Levi, Levi, who is studying engineering, describes living in the Ukraine as very scary for Black people. He says there's a 50-50 chance something really bad will happen to you because of your skin color. I know another African student who was beaten so badly by skinheads last year that he lost the hearing in his right ear. His dad insisted that he transferred his studies to London. I don't think the police ever got involved. When we tell them about hate crimes, they usually use it as an opportunity to extort money from us for some fictional, misdemeanor with our papers. That picture, racism, open hostility, racism, and violence against ethnic minorities is thought to be rife among Ukrainian football fans who are seen here waving a swastika. We are talking on the street, and Levi points to a shop nearby from which another Nigerian was dragged and then beaten by right wing extremists. The worst thing is that so called decent citizens will either walk or look on without saying anything. Levi has mixed feelings about Ukraine co hosting the Euro 2012 football tournament with Poland. I love football, but it's dangerous to go to local matches. We are afraid to go unless it's in a group. I won't go unless there's 10 or more of us. And we make sure that we are first out of the stadium. I don't think I would say to British blacks that they can come here and be safe, but I hope that if they do, local whites will realize we are all God's creatures. Armel, a 27-year-old economics student from the Ivory Coast, is another who was lured to the Ukraine by low student fees and easy admittance to degree courses. We can live well here, he admits, but the racism is very bad. He has 2 more years of his course to complete and is in no doubt that the European Championship will start on Friday should have been staged elsewhere. Some people don't go out at night, others do so only in groups. They are scared of being beaten up. Arnell has lost count of the number of times a complete stranger has approached him to say, "What are you doing here, monkey?" He adds, they can be either young or old, male or female. It's almost an everyday thing. So you learn to accept it. Armel recalls a recent occurrence occurrence oh my god occurred when he was having lunch in a cafe near the Central Market. 5 young men with close cropped hair sat at a nearby table, he said. One of them jabbed his fingers in me. His face was red with anger and he snarled that it had no right to be in the country. He said it was for whites only and that banana eating monkeys like me should go back to where we come from. Almost every black man I approach in Dunsty last week told me they had suffered a racist physical attack and all had been verbally abused several times. It seems not much has changed in this part of the world in the 20 years since I visited Krakow in Poland and was followed by 3 young men who made ape noises and shouted insults about bananas. What is happening in the Ukraine today brings to mind the kind of racism that black people in Britain used to face in the 60s. My mother once fought with a woman who asked to see her tail. All three of England's group matches are to be played in this former Soviet republic, but shocking and disturbing scenes in a panorama film of football fans giving the salute. Instigating racial violence on the terraces have led to calls for Black and Asian fans to boycott the tournament. Indeed, the Foreign Office has advised people of color to be extra vigilant about their personal safety if they follow the England team. These are people right here that you see, gang of racist football hooligans in the Ukraine were filmed training camp in the woods. Okay, so this is goes to show you what's the deal, in with these people in the Ukraine. Okay, oh God, I can't believe this. Okay, here is another article, and this is recent. Africans in Ukraine facing racism. My heart breaks. Why are black people so much hated everywhere? I woke up to the hashtag Africans Ukraine. Okay, trending on social media, and right now it's difficult not to rage at the world, at racism, and how sad this all is. And they say white supremacy is a thing of the past. This makes me wonder if we ever had a world crisis where people had to be rescued. I wouldn't be surprised if the sign "No blacks until all white people are safe" is openly displayed and a policy to that effect openly implemented. We say never again, then things like this happen. We know, yes, it can happen again. The true test of character and allyship is not when we are comfortable, but when we are in a difficult situation. Okay, and this is something going on right here. Let me just.
These are the black community here. They are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates. We are all here. It's only Ukrainians that they are allowing in. Even the ones with kids, they're not allowing them in. Only have been here for days and nobody's asking any questions. Only Ukrainian women and kids they are allowing in through these gates. All the places blocked and all are full of blacks from different communities, from different countries. Nobody's talking to us.
The anti-blackness and racism against the African Ukraine is very evil. How can you say I stand with the Ukraine, but in humanitarian crisis deny black people in Ukraine the humanity extended to white people? How can you humanize white pain but justify dehumanizing black pain? Pure evil. Here's post after post after post after post after post. Intelligent, educated people. Some of them are, in IT specialists, highly qualified. In other words, this is not the refugee wave we have I got used to, where we do not know what to do. People with obscure past, maybe terrorists. These are Europeans who just got there, or something. I don't know. So if they're white, they are not refugees. They are intelligent, educated, and highly qualified. They are not terrorists. They are welcomed. And the Bulgarian prime minister is a racist bigot, if I speak. So this is like different places. Hearing from another student this morning who says Africans are not being allowed to board trains to the border, are being left on platforms. Too many testimonies now to discount. And here we go, hashtag Africans in Ukraine. This is something that been going on. What's today's date? Today is the 27th, okay? Today's the 27th. And these posts was what? Was this the 20th, February 22nd or the 27th? I stand with Ukraine, and also I stand with people of color currently being maltreated by those in charge. It is not the right. and it's not fair. Their lives are as precious as ours. So you can see what is going on right now. So it's a big problem that's going on right now. Christian 30 received a video call from his friend Winston from the border crossing where he claimed to have seen Ukrainian military personnel preventing hundreds of Africans and other international citizens from going to Poland. He has been waiting to receive Winston, a Nigerian national, in Poland, but has not been able to contact him on the phone. He fears his battery has died or worse. No English, no Polish, no blacks. They told my friend, this is about racism. Christian told the independent news outlet in the UK. As I talked to you, I haven't slept for the past 2 days. I am worried about hearing that my friend, my brother, is no more, that my fellow Africans have died. Equal rights is something that everyone should have. Africans don't have equal rights with white Ukrainians. We should not discriminate. We are all human. This is war. Footage has gone viral of people being blocked from onboarding trains, and another of a Chinese man in the country apparently ranting out about African refugees taking away opportunities and referring to them as darkish people. So now, didn't I say in the beginning of this that you'll have one set of people bullying the next set of people, bullying the next set of people. So now you have the Asian man who's Chinese, bullying an African man because he's taking an opportunity away from him. 24, 24 Jamaican students who yesterday arrived in, um, I guess, Livy, V from by train are now being forced to walk 20 kilometers to Poland. The country's foreign affairs minister, Smith, says they were blocked from boarding the bus that was carrying the students to Poland. Says that black Africans are being treated with racism and contempt in the Ukraine and Poland. West cannot ask African nations to stand in solidarity with them if they cannot display basic respect for us, even in a time of war, ignored in a pandemic and left to die in a war. Unacceptable. Listen to this one, racist sentiments from this Chinese guy in the Ukraine.
所以其实有一部分
So he is upset that they are taking opportunities. So there are some ordinary Ukrainians whose fate has become tragic.
那个乌克兰挺命运挺悲惨的老百姓，没
They
有拿
didn't
到
get
这
any
这个机
opportunities.
会，但是这些黑
But
黑
these
人，
darkish
结果
people,
他们过来，哎呀，我去
they've
捐这
come
边儿人，
here.
刚
I
从那
saw
儿
them
下火车
insulted
的时候，
people
就在
when
那
we
里
were
骂人，
leaving the
那些
train, just about
黑
it.
黑
These
的人，
darkish
一直骂骂
people.
咧咧的，我真是服了。
See for
你看，
yourself.
我感觉这个城市
I think
要
this
变
city
黑
will
了。
turn black.
快手，拥抱每一种生活。
And this is what he had to say, the city turning black. Medical student Sky 26 has been living in Ukraine since September and has just arrived from where she is hoping to move on. Some of the locals are prioritizing Ukrainians and black people are struggling to get on buses, facing hostility or being denied at the border. Ms. Sky has been telling people to arrange taxis and is crowdfunding towards the fare. Many of her peers are from poor backgrounds and do not have the means to secure this mode of travel, which can cost hundreds of pounds. Liking the unfolding crisis around her to an apocalypse movie, the student described vigilantes pacing up and down, carrying guns under the guise of supporting the army. The student said she had personally experienced being threatened at gunpoint by local armed men. In the current crisis, Black people, especially migrants, are particularly vulnerable because of racism, Ms. Sky said. As a community, we are generally fearful of armed police, and being frequently stopped by people with guns is terrifying. I think I'm running on adrenaline at this moment. I'm assisting people while on the road. So I need to remain calm so I can support others. Poland has also reportedly been refusing asylum to Black refugees while letting white Ukrainians, some of those trying to cross the border, have claimed. The official visuals of the Ukraine blocking Africans on the train. Ah, whew. It is. Ukraine left African families stranded at the train. There is more to the story. Follow thread contact details for volunteers taking stranded to safe harbor. Hashtag Africans in the Ukraine. So there is contact numbers and stuff. Okay, help for Nigerians leaving the Ukraine, Nigerian diaspora organization. So there are people that are, coming up with solutions and stuff, and you want to donate. Please do your research and stuff. But there are, at least there are coming up with ladies like Miss Sky and different people are coming up with ways, as always we do, coming up with ways to help get African Americans, well, not African Americans, but Africans from different Nigeria, Ghana, and wherever else out of the country. So the Ukraine border is closed and people can't cross to get into Poland after being stranded by trains. Africans making their way by car told there's no exit for them. Okay, so this is they're being denied. Africans taking the shelter after being left stranded, waiting for safe harbor to asylum. These are students. These are people who came to this country, came to the Ukraine for education, and they are being denied. See, help for Nigerians leaving the Ukraine, host welfare for Nigerians in Poland. This lady, look at this, holding her baby, holding her child. Use the hashtag Africans in Ukraine. This is, Ukraine is involved. Like you got the Red Cross, different agencies, Ford Foundation, thank you, Action Aid, all these organizations are, I guess, in helping. You got Amnesty International, of course. So this is more to the story. Students being held at borders. As advised, they've moved into groups to these places, and in numbers they were let pass after a major protest, but they were let past. So this is 12 hours. So y'all keep that pressure. Keep using the hashtag Africans in Ukraine. Um, a lot of people I've noticed are not speaking out, speaking about this story on YouTube, and I hope I do not. Okay, this has nothing else to do with it. But that was what I wanted to share. I know this is a very long live, and I know 42 minutes for some people is just way too much, and y'all are not going to watch all of it. But I had to share this. I had to. I love you all. Y'all pray for the people in the Ukraine. Yes, pray for them. Pray for pray for everyone who wants to escape the situation. Pray that they all receive safe passage out. Please. But don't forget to, if y'all are, don't forget to put that hashtag in, hashtag Africans in the Ukraine. On that note, I am out.